Hello and welcome to Teach Me English. This is your host Muhammad Sanaul Ansari, and today's topic is After 20 Years by O. Henry. Let us proceed further to know about the author and then about his creation after 20 years. It's William Sidney Potter. He was born in the year 1862 and died in the year 1910 only at the age of 48. His parents' names are, that is, Algernon and Sidney Potter. His father was a physician and mother Mary Jane Virginia Swam Potter. Though in his early age he attended his aunt's elementary school and he also attended Lindsay Street School. He changed many jobs, like he worked in his uncle's drugstore, worked in a ranch, even in a land office, in a bank, as a reporter, cartoonist, columnist, and at last he became the writer. He became so famous in his writing. Some of his important writings are Heart of the West, Gift of Magi, Voice of City, and one most important work is A Retrieved Reformation, which he wrote on his experience when he was in prison for 3 years. The important thing about his tale is that he romanticized the commonplace things, and had surprise ending. So in very short about this author, O. Henry, William Sidney Potter. We all know that word meanings are very vital and important, very necessary thing in any of the work, in any literature work. Now, depeopled means deserted, no people. Twirling means moving. Here, like you must have seen the policeman, they hold their stick on their hand and they make a movement. It's called twirling. Intricate means a very fine detail, means a person knows the thing very well. Here the policeman, he is twirling the rod or the stick, okay, in a very good manner. That's why. Pacific means peacefully. Thoroughfare, passage, road. It was a Pacific road, means a peaceful road. Now stalwart means courage, to show courage. And then swagger means boost, proudful. Vicinity, the area, surroundings. Chum means friend. Chap, man, fellow, whatever used. So these are the words frequently used in America. Now, correspondent means here exchange messages. It's called correspondent. Now, proposition means offering, new opening, new new advantages. Then staunches means trustworthy, whom you have great trust on. Plodder, one who walks slowly on the road. Sharpest wit, this is a phrase. What is the meaning? Great sense, good knowledge you have. Groove, here groove means a strike zone, means a place which is not easy for you. You have to fight for your existence. Razor age, you can understand, at the age of the razor, means at a great risk. Drizzle means a sprinkling of water. Puff, here you take it as a wind. It blows sometime and you get a chill feeling on your body. It's called puff here. Oyster means in motion. Grasping, holding something tightly. Brilliant, here it means shining brightly. Now, gaze, a look. Snapped means break something suddenly, took it apart. Roman nose, a nose with a hooked bend shape, means a nose which is out, okay, and a little bit bent down. And then pug nose means a short nose. We have understood about the word meanings. Let us proceed toward the story. The story is about two friends, Silky Bob and Jimmy Wells. Silky Bob, he left the place New York and went to Chicago, and Jimmy Wells, he stayed there because he loved his country a lot and he became a policeman here. The story begins with a policeman, and he was in his own style, means in a courageous mood and in a way a proudful mood, you can say. So policeman, he was his duty is to do the patrolling at night. It was 10 o'clock at night, and what happened here? Chilly gust of winds with taste of rain. So you can understand the environment, how cold it could be. That's why the place is depeopled. No people were there. And the policeman, he went door to door, knocking at the door with his stick to check if doors are really closed or those doors are opened. And then what he had done, definitely he was moving his what call the stick artfully, in intricate, means in a delicate manner. And then he had a keen eyes on the road, the Pacific thoroughfare, means the peaceful road. He had keen eyes on the road. He was walking, he was alone, and he thought that he was the guardian of the peace, because the weather of the place is not a kind of weather where people could stay for a longer time. That's why the vicinity was one that kept early hours, means the people, they themselves desert the place, they don't stay at the place late hour at the night. And some stores like cigar stores or the whole night lunch counter, it means the whole night restaurant, this kind of stores are only open. Otherwise other all doors of the houses and doors of the stores were all closed. Now he was walking on the road because he was the patrolman. So all of a sudden he stopped near a block, means a certain place. He stopped there in the midway because he noticed something there. He noticed that near a hardware store, means and the doorway of a, means the near a hardware store, there he saw a man leaning, means standing, not in a straight position. He was taking the support of the door. He was standing, the man, with an unlighted cigar, means he was about to smoke. The policeman walked near him and he spoke. So the man thought that what happened. The policeman came instantly, and no one was there actually. So the man told him, it's all right, officer, don't, nothing to worry about, officer, don't worry. He informed him that he was for an appointment made 20 years ago. He was waiting for his friend and they made appointments 20 years ago. He himself admitted that it looks a little funny. He told him that he would explain everything to the officer, but he asked him that 20 years back there was a restaurant with the name Big Joe Brady's restaurant. 20 years back it was. So the policeman informed him, yes, 5 years ago only the restaurant was torn down, means demolished, and the hardware shop was made in place of that. The man definitely was standing near the hardware shop. What he had done, because he was having the unlighted cigar on his hand, so he struck a match and lit his cigar. As he struck the match, what happened? The policeman was able to see his face, that is a man, a pale, showed a pale, means not white, you can say, okay. So pale means a bit of yellow color would be also there, okay. A pale square jawed face like the Superman, you must know this, Superman, with keen eyes, the eyes which could see people and understand a lot, that's called keen eyes, and a white scar near the right eyebrow. His scarf had one large diamond, oddly shaped, means it showed that the man did not care about the wealth a lot. I mean, he must be a filthy rich man. Again he started speaking. 20 years ago tonight, I mean just 20 years back on the same day, he said he dined at this Big Joe Brady's restaurant, which is now what called the hardware shop, with his friend Jimmy Wells. He said his friend was best chap, means best friend, and the finest chap, the finest human being on the earth. Both of them, he said that they were raised in the country, in the place that is New York. Both were like brothers to each other. He said when they left this place, means when they were departed, this man who was standing near the door, who was wearing the large diamond, he was only 18 and his friend Jimmy was 20. And they made their mind that they would start their career from that place. Means they believed that after 20 years they would set in their life. So, and he said that next morning he himself, this man who was standing and near the hardware shop, he said that he made for the west, means western part of the country. He thought that western part of the country was more developed and could give him better opportunity. So he left that place. And Jimmy could not have dragged Jimmy out of New York. Means no one could do this thing that anyone could drag him out of New York, because Jimmy, he used to love his country a lot. And that, according for Jimmy, this was the only place on the earth where he could stay. So they decided that they would meet exactly after 20 years at the same place, that is from the date, particular date and time was given, that is 10 o'clock. Okay, at the same place, Big Joe Brady's restaurant. And for this reason, this man was standing there at that place, which is now converted to a hardware shop. They thought that after 20 years, definitely they would be able to get their fortune, their destiny. The policeman, after listening to the story, revealed that the story was quite interesting. After 20 years back, they made the plan. They decided to meet. And after 20 years, in this such a hustle and bustle of life, a busy life, the man was so sincere, so what called trustworthy, and so good friend that he came to that place to meet his friend Jimmy Wells after 20 years. And the important thing is that to see whether Jimmy Wells would come or not. This is the most important thing. So there arises the question whether they had the contact between them. 20 years back they left, so did they do any contact? So this is what asked by the police. He replied that yes, for some time they exchanged messages, but definitely after a year or two it was all lost. They stopped. Definitely, he told that because West is a pretty big proposition, means a big opening, big offering, where you won't get time yourself to think about yourself, even what about the others. So you get busy in the work, and you get busy to establish yourself to make your life better and best. And he said, I kept hustling, means I kept jostling, fighting, running in that West. Okay, over it pretty lively, means the West did not give him time for himself even to stop and think. Okay, and then what happened? He said that Jimmy will meet me. He said Jimmy will definitely come. If he was alive, he would definitely come to meet him, because he believed that his friend is truest, is strongest, means trustworthy, and the best friend on the earth, which he could never find again. Understood? Now he said that I came 1,000 miles to meet my friend, and he had a great belief that his friend would never betray him, and he would definitely come if he was alive. After speaking about his friend, he pulled out a handsome watch. The lid of the watch was set with gold, small diamonds. So you can understand the condition of the man, how wealthy he could be, wearing a scarf pin with diamond. The lid of the watch contains diamond, so you can understand the condition of the man. So he saw the time. It was what, 3 minutes to 10. It was not exactly 10 even. 3 minutes to 10. 3 minutes left to be 10. And he told that it was exactly 10 o'clock they parted. So it is exactly 10 o'clock they must meet. Okay? So this is the time, means Jimmy Will must come at this time. The policeman definitely asked him, it means that you did well in the West. That's why you see the dress, after looking at his dress, that diamond on the scarf pin, diamond on the lead of the watch. So that's why he made the comment that did pretty well out West, didn't you? Means you did well in the West. So he said, yes, you bet. He said, you bet that I hope Jimmy has not done half as well. The much I earned money there, the wealth I accumulated there in West, Jimmy had not done even half. Okay, why? Because Jimmy was a man who is a plodder, who does not want to run. Plodder means who walks slowly. He had no intention of running and jostling with the crowd. He wanted to live a peaceful life. Though good fellow he was a good fellow. He didn't deny this. His friend Jimmy was a good fellow. But he knew that Jimmy was not as competent as him. He said, I had to compete with some of the sharpest wit. I told you the meaning, sharpest wit. That is, you have to keep your eyes always open and be ready to fight all the challenges. A man gets in groove means a shade, a safe place. in the West, where you are always on a razor edge. Means you cannot deny, you cannot go back. You have to walk forward. Otherwise, you would be ruined. You will be destroyed at a razor edge. After listening to the story of the man, the policeman twirled his club and he took two or more steps away because he had his work of patrolling, so he had to go for the work. He said, I shall be on my way, the police told. I shall be on my way, and he hope your friend must come. Just he asked, going to call time on him sharp? He mean to say that, do you want that your friend must come at 10 o'clock exactly? Do you means won't you give some time to your friend? He said, definitely I should not do this thing. I must give him give him half an hour extra at least. Means the time is 10 o'clock, I must wait till 10:30, because he knew that if his friend was alive, he must come to meet him. And the officer took his leave. As he was trying the door, he was knocking at the door, so he did, and he left that place. You see, the condition was, the night was fine, cold drizzling falling, so definitely the weather is very much cold, and the wind had risen from its uncertain, but all of a sudden you get a chilly gust of wind and you feel cold at the time. And you could see some foot passengers were there passing hurriedly to their home, because the night was getting dark and the wind was getting colder and chillier. So people were moving there with their coat collars turned high, a hand in the pocket, okay. And that at the hardware shop, the man named Silky Bob was standing, who came from 1,000 miles, was waiting for his friend. Now, about 20 minutes, just 20 minutes passed. What happened? That he saw a tall man in a long overcoat with collar turned up to his ears. Okay, he came to the man, means to Silky Bob. He came to the waiting man, Silky Bob, and said that he came and asked the name. Is that you, Bob? So Bob thought that definitely Jimmy Wells had come. Is that you, Jimmy Wells? He asked him. And cried the man, means Silky Bob asked. Bless my heart! It was the exclamation made by Jimmy Wells. Bless my heart that after a long time, after 20 years, both of them met. Okay, grasping both their other hands, each of them hold their hands tightly, because after 20 years, two best friends they met, and such a thing that after 20 years they remember each other. That is what the most important thing. And he said that it's Bob, sure as fate. Jimmy Wells told that definitely it is Bob only. Okay, and then definitely you can understand, I don't have to explain you what could be the situation at the time, how would they behave at the time. Now, but they believe that 20 years, because you see 20 years is a long time. 20 years definitely is a long time for two friends to remember each other, and after 20 years they meet. Jimmy Wells showed his desire that he was to have dinner there with him like they had last 20 years back. Okay, then he asked him, how did you do in the West? Now here, Silky Bob is about to speak. He told that it has given me everything. West had given him everything. But the thing is that Silky Bob noticed something about Jimmy Wells. What is that? He said, I never thought you were too tall, so tall by 2 or 3 inches. Means after 20, means when they departed, Jimmy Wells was already 20 years old. And biologically, definitely height stopped increasing after 20. In 20 years, his 2 to 3 inches height increased, so he could not take it. He said that, okay, definitely it happened sometime. Jimmy Wells told it happened sometime that I grew a bit in those days. I grew a bit, definitely. Silky Bob asked him that, how did you do in this New York? He said, yeah, definitely moderately, not as much as you had done, moderately, and I got a position, means a job in the city department here only. But it could be seen that man from the West, means Silky Bob, had egotism enlarged by success. And it could be seen by his appearance, by his style of talking. And he started speaking about his history, about his career, the history of his career. And other man, means Jimmy Well, because he had a simple life, just he was doing a job in one of the city department. So what he did, submerged in his overcoat and listened his story with keen interest. Okay, they came across, means they came near a drug shop and they were crossing. So the drug shop was open, means the chemist shop, the medicine shop was open. And what happened? There was a brilliant light, means light shining brightly. And there the thing changed a lot. So both of them could see each other's face. When the one, definitely Silky Bob and Jimmy Wells, both of them saw each other's face. Silky Bob, suddenly what he had done, he released his arm from Jimmy Wells, and he commented, "You are not Jimmy Wells." Then who was the man who came? 20 years is not long. Definitely 20 years, definitely you can see height 1 or 2 inches, it may increase, but it is not possible that somebody's nose from Roman to pug, it changed from Roman to pug, a long nose to a small nose. It won't happen in 20 years. So he understood that the man who had come was not Jimmy Wells. Now the man who came to meet Silky Bob, he told, "Sometime changes a good man into a bad one." So there we have an indication that Silky Bob, who had become a filthy rich, there is some uncanny about his wealth. Now see, he said, and he told, "You have been under arrest for 10 minutes. Silky Bob was under arrest for 10 minutes. It means the man who came, he was not his friend Jimmy Wells. He was a policeman. The man informed Silky Bob that Chicago thinks you may have dropped over our way. It means that Silky Bob had come from Chicago. That is he called West Chicago, and he had there some wrong business. Chicago. He was wanted in Chicago. It was informed from Chicago that he had come to New York. So the police of New York, they were hunting for him, and he was caught. So now he was under arrest for 10 minutes. Definitely Silky Bob had nothing to do at that place where he was born, and he came to meet his friend. He was caught by the police, and he showed his sense there, and he did not do anything wrong. He accepted it, and the policeman without any difficulty took him with himself. The policeman all of a sudden gave him a note, handed over him a note, and told him to read there standing, because there was a light, and he told that it was from the patrolman Wells. Who is patrolman Wells? The man who was patrolling, who came and who had a good talk with Silky Bob, means the policeman. And Silky Bob told all his story about his life to the policeman. That same patrolman Wells had said this tall man to arrest Silky Bob. He opened the letter and he read, "I was at the appointed place on time," because he was already patrolling. He was trying the doors, he was knocking at the doors, and he was doing his job. He saw his friend, and both of them were near. So we have seen that he lighted the match and lit the cigar. So at that time, this patrolman, who was exactly Jimmy Wells, had seen his friend's face. But the same man was also wanted in Chicago. Since he was on his duty, he had to do his duty. He said, I could not do it myself to arrest you. So what he did, so he left the place. We had seen that after the talk, after discussion, he left the place, and he even told him that, would you give your friend some time? So it showed that he wanted to come back to meet him, but unfortunately he could not do, because his friend was wanted in Chicago. So he said that I got a plain clothes man and made the job done. That is to arrest Silky Bob. So what we have seen and noticed here, that Jimmy Wells, he became a policeman in New York. He came at the exact time, at the exact place to meet Silky Bob. But unfortunately, his friend Silky Bob was wanted in Chicago. So he could not do himself, he could not arrest his friend. He sent someone else to do the job. This is what the story has here, that completely changed the story. Whatever we had seen, it has completely changed here. Okay, so keep till here today. We would meet again with another story. Thank you very much.